Look who just rolled in. It's time to butter up your ears to laughs, life, and a little flaky wisdom. It's all about the biscuits with RJ.
At All About the Biscuits, we believe life's just a big old platter of toppings. Flaky, spicy, sweet, even messy. And guess what? We butter them all up and dig right in. Whether it's real talk or ridiculous rants. I'm RJ and we're serving it hot. All topics, all biscuits, always served hot.
All right. Welcome back to All About the Biscuits with RJ. That's right, this guy. Thanks for joining us, where all topics, all biscuits are always served hot. All right. Just quick disclaimer. I'll try not to swear. I try to keep topics funny and hot. If it's something serious, we're going to get serious. Going to get right down to it and butter it up and serve it hot. That's right. If you don't like it, just move on out. It is okay. There's no editing. One take. That's all. If you don't like it, like I said, move on out and change the channel. All right. Let's get into it. So I figure I'd do a part 2. Who is RJ? This guy. You know, a lot of times I'm sitting here trying to figure out all this layout and all this stuff. Nothing's going to make me look any better or any worse than I already am. Just looking at the camera, just trying to make sure I keep eye contact. That's right. I like to keep things light. I like to talk serious items when we have to. But right now, I'm just going to tell you about myself. Part 2. Deux. All right. So getting into it. I'm a pretty square guy. I like things simple. I believe in right and wrong, good and evil, up and down, left and right. North, south, east, west. I don't like complicating things too much. I think humans make things way too complicated, too complex when things can be so simple. And, you know, with me, there's not a lot of gray areas. We all have opinions. We all tell our truth, which I really don't care for the term because basically it's your opinion. Because there's only, like in my book, facts matter. Yes, we can complain, we can cry, we can be annoyed, we can voice our concerns. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't let your emotions cloud your judgment or make your decisions for you, at least not all the time. So for me, things are, you know, right and wrong. I try to keep things down the middle. I try to use a lot of common sense. You know, a lot of times these days, common sense just isn't common anymore. You know, my life, I like things simple. I like things boring. I like things just the way they should be. You know, keeping life simple and boring keeps out the toxicity, keeps out all the things that people complicate by not taking the time to slow down, breathe, and listen to each other, talk more, converse more, and understand other people's opinions. You know, people say my truth. I believe it comes down to the facts that can be proven to a certain extent. And there's only one truth, the truth. There's different sides of the story from different perspectives. I am not against anybody's opinion. I believe everybody should have their opinion, but that doesn't mean you don't try to understand someone else's view. You don't have to agree with it. That's not what I'm saying, but we should all listen because there is always room for compromise. I'm the person that likes to set up boundaries. I don't need all the noise because when I need to focus, whether it's multitasking, whether it's one topic, I like to make sure I understand the consequences of any decisions whether it comes out of my mouth or my actions. I want to make sure I think about it before I do anything. People forget a lot of times. They open their mouth. Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, has consequences. I think a lot of times people don't use common sense. I think they get delusional. They start believing things that aren't real or that are just distorted. It's not all the facts. It's not all the angles of views and opinions. But, for me, the truth comes down to the what, the when, the where, the how, and that's it. And what is the impact to people? So I always like to think before I open my mouth. I always like to think before I take actions because it's always going to have consequences no matter what it is: conflict, tragedy, laughable situations. We have to think. I'm pretty square, like I said. And, feelings for me, not a problem. If you want to cry and complain behind closed doors, that's great. There's nothing wrong with taking it on the air in a podcast or not. But just make sure that you can articulate what you are trying to say. I can't. There's a lot of times when I just ramble, and that's okay. But I like to set boundaries with friends, family, strangers. I want to make sure that I have every resource in my noggin before I make decisions. That's the kind of person I am. Whether you believe me, whether you agree with me on my opinions, that's okay. That's okay. I am a big dummy. I am an adult child. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. Growing up, I was bullied most of my life. But I always believe in sticks and stones, which have made me a better person. I love, 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 love making fun of myself. It is okay. I like when my friends make fun of me. It is okay. It is not an insecurity. For me, that's one thing that is not an insecurity. For me, that just makes me stronger because I look back and I can do a whole podcast through my childhood and adulthood about being bullied, which I don't believe anybody should do. And if you do it unconsciously, like when you're making fun of someone and it's just a lighthearted situation, always know how that person is going to think before you open your mouth. Because sometimes, between friends, close friends, I have a close knit of friends. I keep it that way. Let's put it this way. I have acquaintances and casual friendships and such, but when it comes to the down and dirty, handful of people that I can bullshit with, handful of people that will respect my opinion, whether or not we agree, but nowadays everybody's so sensitive. So I just want to let you know, to be aware that we have to think about before we open our mouth because of the consequences. I like to try, growing up, I was not intelligent whatsoever. I am still a big dummy, stupid sometimes. And if I need to explain the difference between being dumb and stupid, I'm not going to do it right now, right here. Okay? Got it. Let's move on. So, stuff comes out of my mouth that just doesn't make sense sometimes. I say words that don't make sense. Growing up, I had to take speech and reading classes after school. Kind of goes all along with the bully part, but we won't get into that. So, yeah, honestly, pretty square. Keep the circle pretty tight. You're going to hear my opinion on these podcasts. Most of it is just fun. laughable items that we see that are true or facts, because we all see it. Doesn't matter if it's someone on the phone walking in Walmart having a conversation that the world can hear. And how freaking annoying is that? And the worst is FaceTime. Why do you need to have a FaceTime conversation with someone while you're shopping? Don't get it? For another time. So right now, me, I grew up, I was born in Kansas, where my parents went to Kansas State University. Later in life, I have mobility issues with my legs. I was born with clubfoot. I had several surgeries when I was a baby. I just thank God I can walk. Over the past probably 15 years, I've had probably about 6 or 7 surgeries on my Achilles tendon. The latest one is I had what they call Haglund's deformity. So they went in and reattached the Achilles to the heel after they fixed the heel and chopped it off. So yeah, it sucks getting old, but you know what? Still all right here. Okay, that's not true. I forget crap all the time. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. But yeah, I'm pretty straight up. Don't like things getting complicated. When I watch reels and listen to other crap, I'm like, why are they making it so complicated? It's not that complicated. Life, the meaning of life to me is, pretty simple. Don't have to agree with it. Whatever the universe puts in your noggin, if you want to believe that, that's fine. I believe, pretty simple. The secret of life is God, family, and service. Selfless service, which I'll get into because of the foundation, RJ's Mission Foundation, where we take care of our veterans, first responders, service members, and their families. We're also very fortunate to take care of our local community as well, courtesy of foodrescue.us and several Chick-fil-A's that donate leftover food, biscuits, and sorted chicken every week that goes to a blessing fridge open to the community. So I get about 60, 70 pounds of free food that goes to the community, our veterans. We've had people take it for senior meals and whoever needs it while we fight food insecurity in our nation. So moving on. Anyways, all about the biscuits came from that because I was in an article called The Biscuit Guy, and it just, boom, clicked. Came in my little peanut brain, and here we are. So about me, lived in New Jersey, outside New York City, for the first 18 years of my life. Believe it or not, the house I grew up in is directly in front of the entrance to the cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey, where Whitney Houston is buried. That's the best way to put it. That's the only way to put it. And that's where I grew up. Yeah, and then moved to Northern Virginia, where I went to school, George Mason University, outside DC, and spent I don't know, 25 years there, and then got up and said, it's time to move on. I don't like the cold anymore. I don't like winters. No, thank you. Moving on. So here we are. And that's just a little bit about me. You'll get to know me over the podcast if you stay listening. And we'll go from there. Topics we're going to get into. Let's make this easy. I'm already going to talk about being bullied. I'm going to talk about life growing up in the 70s, 80s, and young adult in the 90s. Everyday crap that we see that we're like, what is that all about? I like doing voices. I'm going to take what I do behind closed doors, making fun and light of everything in front of my wife, who sees most of it. And, sometimes Sven says yes. Voices will come out. It's okay. I'm a big idiot. But hey, that's okay. I just want you to enjoy this podcast. I want you to realize that it's just everyday stuff that I observe. I'm the person that goes into a restaurant, and if we sit at a table, I would like to think most men, I like my back to the wall so I can see everything because I like to know my environment that I'm in. It's just something that I do. And I think a lot of men do it, sit with their back to the wall so that they can see what's going on. It's that protector mode. My protection. My wife can handle herself. Unless she gives me that look, I'm good. She's got it. She'll let me know if she needs a little muscle. Not calves, because I don't have calves. I have stick legs. Thank you. All right, let's get it moving. Thank you for joining and listening to me rant about whatever. Just remember, be kind. Put a smile on someone's face today because it's free. Until next time, have a good one.
Thanks for pulling up a chair with us at All About the Biscuits. Remember, life's messy, flaky, and sometimes sweet, but we're in it together. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, leave a review, and pass the plate to a friend. See you next time.